What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Like always, like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, hit the notification bell, all that wonderful stuff. Today, doing a quick video over W.E.B. Griffin's Battleground, a novel of the core. This is the fourth book in the series, and it was just as good as the last one. It was the same. 10 out of 10. Had a great time. His character work is just unbelievable. You're still following the characters as they're navigating through, you know, all the tension and the build-up, getting ready to go full on against the Japanese. There's a few battles actually in this book. It starts off with a great aviation battle with the Wildcats against the Zeros, and there's some other planes on the American side that there's only a few Battlecats in that battle. I can't remember what the other planes were called that were in it. That's right at the beginning of the book. And that's a great character that you follow throughout the rest of the book. Just a young lieutenant, you know, making his way into the military, and he's just immediately, you know, shipped out basically to die, to fight for his country. And so he's trying to deal with all that, and what he goes through, like his emotions right in the first few pages of the book while he's battling in the air, is pretty awesome. You're following Galloway. There's still not Killer McCoy's still not relevant in this one. He pops up a little bit, but not that much. Banning is not, he's in this one a little bit more, but you're following the same characters from the counterattack book, and then a couple of new ones come into this one, and they're all great characters. Like I said, W.E.B. Griffin is a master of character work. He does a phenomenal job, and you know, this book's no exception. This book is actually far less dialogue than counterattack, and just a lot more focus on what these characters are going through, you know, in their day-to-day life, dealing with this stuff. You know, you have your Americans being shipped to Australia and all those little islands outside of Australia where they're being based, and they're getting ready to fight the Japanese, or they're already fighting them, and all that stuff. So you're feeling what these characters. I mean, the best thing W.E.B. Griffin does in these books, anyways, is you really feel like you're living the lives of these characters that he's explaining it, and it's all your good guys. You know, you don't get any bad guy coverage. You're literally living the lives that, you know, I would say was probably typical of what these people were dealing with back then. Now, I would think some of the over sexualization, I don't know, maybe it was. I've said this in like every review I've done by him, could just be his style of writing, but maybe they really were all perverted men and women back then that were Marines and the Navy and stuff. I have no idea, you know what I mean? I wasn't there. This was almost 100 years ago, you know what I mean? This was 80 years ago this war was happening. This one was set in 1942, I believe. Yeah. This one takes you through 1942, through the whole book. It ends on the 25th of August of 1942. The ending also ends with another great aviation battle sequence. There is one scene where like they get bombarded by the Japanese on a ship. It's a pretty quick scene. The last aviation battle was great, and you know what I mean. You think, spoiler, you think one of your favorite characters died, but they don't. So far, they're still alive. So that's pretty awesome. You're still following Fleming Pickering, as he's, you know, he was called back to the Navy. He's an ex-Marine. He was called to be a captain or whatever in the Navy, like their intelligence sector or whatever, in counterattack. So you're still following him. You get a lot more of Ellen Feller in this book, and her just like perverted mind and her craziness. She gets a lot of character work in this book, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good for her. You're following Lieutenant Dunn as he's bouncing around. You know, he gets messed up in the opening scene, and so you're following him as he's recovering. Who else? You have Lieutenant Koffler, I believe. He's your linguist. He can speak Japanese, so you're following him as he's supposed to be like an intel type officer for intelligence and like kind of like spy, kind of, not really, but basically nobody's supposed to know what he's doing besides the couple of people that do. So you're following him, what he's doing. A little bit of Fleming Pickering, not as much as the counterattack book, but he's still pretty relevant in this one. And it just, you're basically living their day-to-day lives. It starts, like I said, it ends on the 25th of August 1942. The book starts on June 4th of 1942. So you're living these like June, July, 3 months with these characters, and it's just a fantastic time. He does a fantastic time. Like I said, 10 out of 10. This is the 4th book in the series. I'm only going to read one of the next one next month. Maybe I might read the next two, because I see I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left. So I could knock this series out before the end of the year. So I might really work hard to do that, because I'd like to. Again, the cover art is not showed here. I'm assuming it's like the others and it's just uncredited. So if there is a cover artist and let me know. I don't see it here. This book came out in 1991. So great book, fantastic, 10 out of 10. I absolutely loved it. I think everybody should read W.E.B. Griffin just for the character work alone. He has such great characters. Like, I always thought Dean Koontz's characters were like the best ever, but W.E.B. Griffin he's rivaling him. He's rivaling him. He's moving up my favorite author list very quickly. I will not deny that. Because right now my top 2 is Tom Clancy and Dean Koontz. And then after that, it's a toss-up between all the ones I like. But W.E.B. Griffin he's moving up, and I very well may read the next 2 in that series, because I'd love to finish this series and then start the Presidential Agency series and finish that, since I'm already 2 books into it. But next up, that is my last read for June, and today is June 28th, but that's my last read for June. I'm going to get ahead on my July TBR and start Rainbow Six by Tom Clancy. I have a few long books that over 800 pages in my July TBR, this one and 2 others. We'll see how my TBR stands. The other one, I'll just tell you now, is The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, but it's going to be at the end of the month when I get to it, because if I end up not wanting to read it, I could just toss it to the side and read some other stuff. But I am feeling like I want to read some fantasy soon, so we'll see what's going on. But that's the video today, guys. Battleground by W.E.B. Griffin, book 4 in the a novel of the Core series. Is that what it's called? The Core series. So, and I did look up how to pronounce that word correctly. So, there you go. But like I said, next up, Tom Clancy. I wish I had the more old school cover, but I do like this one. So we'll see. It'll be a few days before I get that review uploaded. But that's the video today, guys. Like I said, comment down below.